Welcome everybody, welcome to another fine edition of ETF2L 6v6 Summer 2023 Div 1 Playoffs. It's the Grand Finals, baby. It's teamfortress.tv reporting in. Newscaster Turretabs on the scene with his merry band of news crew. Dave, my co-caster. How are we doing, Dave?
Doing really well. Looking forward to this game. Should be a good one.
Excellent. And we also got Antimation. Over on the camera there, give us a wave, Antimation. It's only joking. He's not actually waving. Who would do that? All right, Dave, we've got Grand Finals on our plate here. It's a rematch of the upper bracket finals. Who would have guessed it? But it's not quite the timeline or the script that a lot of people expected, no?
No, I mean, Varmkorv, they came through the season as the top seeds. It was pretty close between a lot of the teams. I think they did tie in the regular season. But we had a really interesting upper bracket final where we had those two 5CP maps that were really, really close, and Trust the Process were able to just sneak out both of them, including a last-minute crazy back-cap. And then we also had that Bagel game that was just a complete steamroll 3-0 in Varmkorv's favour. So interesting that we have seen the map picks go through with Bagel not getting banned out by Trust the Process, so they're happy to play it again.
Ooh, interesting. You also touched upon a little bit when we were pre-chatting in the little caster lobby, was there's two maps with King of the Hill. It's not just Bagel, Product is in here as well, and Process is going to be rounding out. Sadly, there isn't such three King of the Hill maps, so it will just be a two King of the Hill map affair. I can't remember the last time this has happened in a grand final setting. Can you?
Not to my knowledge, not that I can think of. I think it's strange on Trust the Process's side. You'd think traditional, ideas would be if you're bad on Bagel, you're probably not going to be great on Product. Probably COD as a whole is going to be a weak point for you. But the way the picks have worked out, because they were top seed, Trust the Process got two map picks, and they decided that Product was a map they favoured themselves on. Despite the fact they got so utterly humiliated on Bagel yesterday.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's just the game type of things as well. If you just find that one team is superior in that game type, they may want to just dodge it completely. So I agree. I am curious, but whether or not it's going to be a foolish decision. But on the bright side, that is the third map, I believe. So we might not even come to that. It depends how this first map's going to go, which is going to be CP Process. But before we go into the maps, let me just remind you who these gamers are, and then we'll get into it. Okay, over on the Varmkorv Boogie side, we've got Yumpo on Deberman. Ox is playing that Pocket Soldier. I believe it's Arentry?
Close enough.
Yeah, on the Roaming Soldier, we got Huji on the Pocket Scout and Umga on the Roaming Scout. Over on the side of Trust the Process, we have Derpy Hooves on Devon. Wait a minute, I missed a medic in there somewhere, didn't I?
He doesn't matter.
I think it's Xiao on medic. Anyway, back to the Trust the Process side. Doey, I won't forget about him on the medic. We have Alf on the Pocket Scout. Derpy Hooves playing Demoman. Geordie playing Pocket Soldier. Sylvester playing Roaming Soldier. And Earl will be playing that Flank Scout. What a lineup. What a team. Dave, any standout players in your opinion?
I think Arantru is someone who really shone yesterday and has looked very, very strong every time I've seen him recently. So he's one to watch out for.
Excellent. Perfectly timed out as we have just started our first map. It's the grand final, our best of three to decide who takes the whole marbles for our Div 1 and gets a pass into that Prem season next season. It is Varmkorv versus Trust the Process. And already I'm seeing some players just kind of feeling each other out. Nobody really committing, now they're actually committing. Boyfriend bomb coming in on Varmkorv, one distracting, one going for the jugular. A lot of damage on Derpy Hooves already. With the Demoman down, maybe that is cursing to this mid.
Yeah, really get too much aggression there going on Trust the Process's side, and LX did survive the bomb, but it took so much damage. He was easily cleaned up by the aggression. Him going down means they do not want to fight on the mid fight anymore. It's going to be capped out, and we're going to settle down with both teams having Uber and probably Sax put into second shortly.
On the bright side, there are silver linings in TF2. You lose your Derrick Man pretty early. It is a very clear and cut back out, so they do hold on to that uber charge, and it's kind of up to really Varmkorv to actually make the first move, and they've thrown in their soldier now. He doesn't quite find anything, but that's the game of Roma, baby.
It's taken them a while to counter-sack because of how much damage Dowie did take. He had to go all the way back for a pack, so neither of the soldiers were healed up, so there's probably not even going to be an opportunity here for the counter-sack. Orange is already spawning in 1 second here, so at the moment they're just going to have to settle for trying to deny their opponents.
Now, in the grand final settings, you are going to be tormented by this sort of, I guess, I wouldn't call it scared TF2, I would call it just patient TF2. Careful TF2.
Yeah. Either side is making too many.
Bombs. Jumping in is just being a distraction. No, there's a boyfriend bomb coming in from one corner. Dowie does manage to surf out, but he's in the scary box with Ox, and he will go down eventually, but not without forcing the Uber out to Dowie.
Yeah, they did commit both soldiers for it, but I think it was Ox got juggled perfectly in on top of the medic, which wasn't ideal. First trying to lock down. Actually a flame from Silver that he's taken out by Gucci as well. Now 100% Vizier ready to push through this choke.
Yeah, so they're just going to slowly walk it in, keep an eye out for any sort of traps, any sort of soldier bombs, but I don't think they're even going to humour this idea over and trust the process. They're actually going to go back and start building on process last.
Absolutely no attempt to force them out, so it's going to be an uber advantage for last here.
Alf knows, like, if I see a sniper, I have to click on his point of view, and he absolutely did nothing, but we're going in, and he's got a lot of camp time over on Varmkorv, and it's not really enough to finish it out. Alf coming back as a pyro, you don't really see that too much nowadays in the sort of pool of post-Uber fighting, but it works out.
Yeah, it works out, because everyone took damage on the Trust the Process side, but no frags were followed up. The scouts were too focused on capping, weren't able to clean up those frags, weren't able to, they got tons of damage down the left spawn door, but no one was cleaned up, and the hold just about comes through.
Alright, let's see what we've got cooking over on the sniper class for Trust the Process. I think that's Geordie, seeing what he can... it's actually, they're playing very far back.
Yeah, there was an ad because Zia did get himself out and though he did die. That was the only frag they did get. So they're having to deal with this potential Uber coming in from Zia with the sniper.
They're just playing very cool. They have the Uber charge now, so they should think about walking in, but they should be aware that, with a little hello tap from Geordie onto the demo man, that they've got to think about how they're going to deal with this. They just throw a soldier into on top of the sniper to at least bat him away, and he will go back and change back to scout. And slowly pushing it in now over on Varmkorv. They have popped off the Uber because they see Dowie, but Dowie milks it quite nicely. He pops off onto a solo Alf now, and he could get some kills here if he just gets right on top of this scout player, but it's a bit hard when you take it out of your sort of territory into a scary sort of place.
But now they're trying to re-push here on the Varmkorv side. They're all on the low ground. They're all using spam soldiers, just punishing them. Nice bombing from Geordie, takes out info, and surely Varmkorv are going to have to back out here with no demo man and with 3 men down.
The defender's advantage kind of showing itself there. If you just hold the line, they will kind of jump into themselves and give you rope to hang them. There is a scout on the back cap, but with a time 6 cap, I think it's safe to say, time 7, excuse me, is going to be a mid for Trust the Process. And speaking of Trust the Process, they seem to be back in the driver's seat.
Yep, they've quickly swatted Hughie down as well, so no threat of any scout running in from behind, messing up their plans. It is settled down to even Ubers. Don't know if they're going to make too much of this single pick on scout, but surely an opportunity to throw their soldiers and see what happens.
Yeah, Silvez is kind of gearing up, just clearing out some stickies. And they're just having a quick check of all the doors. Look at all the spam coming out from Varmkorv. It's a beautiful sight to see, but they've managed to weasel past it quite nicely on Trust the Process. Poor soldiers being nuked down. They actually find the first kill over on Trust the Process with Unger. But with Geordie going down, it's just even Stevens, and they go back for a reset and just, again, play things careful. This is the grand final here, Dave.
impressed with how aware this Varmkorv side are that there was absolutely no threat coming in from the IT area, so they had all three of their spam classes all just spamming down that one sewer door, and yeah, absolutely no chance of peeking, absolutely no chance of getting stuff against that amount of projectiles coming in.
Alright, so you have mid, Dave. You start to go back into your toy box of plays about what you could do to break off the stalemate. What's your favourite sort of manoeuvre for this situation? If you have to kind of suggest things to the old process boys.
I like double soldier IT as like a trigger.
Okay, well, you ordered it. He's coming in, Silver. Oh no. Where's our other soldier? He's busy hanging out in IT, so I guess just the one soldier. Will that do, Dave?
It was a bit of times they did provide that distraction from IT, and then the soldier flew and didn't quite happen, but you know, it's not always going to work out.
Ox tried fishing for a jump there. Does have license with it, with Silvez going down, but just kind of knocked about from the sticky. He's just going to back out. They do get Geordie though, who's hanging about too long in that sort of PC area. Will go down, but Silvez is back in the world of the living, so he can contribute to his team again. The numbers don't feel so dire now, but slowly walking it in, and they're making a nice line here for Varmkorv, taking the map piece by piece. And I really think they should still fight this over on Trust the Process. They've actually committed in with the Uber now. They've popped in kind over on Varmkorv, and it's kind of up to see how these post-Uber positions are. I'm not sure if I like the Uber's position. He's very soldiers actually supporting off Yumpo, and things are very, very steady between both of these teams. Yumpo showing some weakness, does go down. They had to earn that kill, Dave.
Yeah, it's good positioning from the Trust the Process guys, just making sure they had the high ground in that post but didn't let those soldiers back in. Or deep now, and Zio's actually claimed by Af running in, taking him out. Doey's nice and safe. Is tagged a little bit down to 80 health. Doesn't even go for the health back. They're going to look to pressure on these picks.
Alright, my eyes are turning to Dookie Who's. If they can get in and just kill this sentry gun before they actually set up, there should be a nice sort of chance to keep going with the momentum here. But maybe they'll play it even super safe, because they're bringing people back now, just making sure that Uber's built. They do lose Geordie, however, during the kind of downtime.
Yeah, they have a lot of time to work with here. They could just wait fully for the spawn of Geordie to come in. They could go as he's rolling out and he'll be in for the post, but I imagine they'll be looking to make a move shortly. They're a bit scared of peeking lobby because of that sniper, who's now switched off. There's a heavy engineer up for the defense, but Uber's going to come in now.
Okay, so let's see what they got working with. So, first point of case, they need to take out the sentry gun. Done. Now they're trying to clear stickies off the point, but also pressure that kind of initial core. Silvez goes down a bit early, disconnected from the rest of his team, and so they were really struggling just to clear off those stickies and coming into the initial push. So, I think they spent the majority of the Uber just using it to clear stickies.
I mean, that works if there's no one there to block, if you clear the stickies and get the count time, but unfortunately the soldiers were completely set up, completely ready to bomb, completely ready to take those scouts out.
Geordie is in, Silvez is in alongside him. One is aiming for the medic and one is trying to go for a soldier class. I guess you just go with what's kind of given in front of you. They're committing more players in now because they feel like they're doing some good damage. Geordie actually lays waste to a good number of them. Shio does go down in the end, but if you kind of hold the tab key, everybody is kind of weak over on Trust the Process, at least if our lineup is. With just a Demoman to the name now, they might go down and wipe as Doey's brought down very, very low. Oh, it's a smidgen of help. He's run. He manages to get out with his Demoman, so call Trust the Process lucky in this scrape.
Yeah, lucky, but they have ended up negotiating pretty successfully, and yeah, I was going to praise Zio for how well he dodged away from Silves in that last push, but it throws it away by allowing Geordie and getting his arrows out and dropping because of it. So now 100% up for Doey. They're trying to just walk into not too much of a threat. Coming in, Silves is going to get claimed, but that's about it, I think.
Yeah, Ox was hiding, just kind of giving him a little spring surprise on Silvez and gets out to tell the tale. Not really doing anything in the big picture, just kind of asserting dominance at this point. Maybe fishing for like a med pick with that sort of hide, but you know, he'll accept a soldier for free.
Yeah, they're respecting the Uber that Zio is just about built up now. There was a brief window to push, but it would have been would have been very much on the dot there, push.
Look at
as
this
we do see
base
off
man.
cross.
He's a spy, and he gets a buff. How many spies do you know want a buff before they go in? As he will go in now. He's got the cloak and dagger, so this is a very slow burn of a spy. I hope you like security cameras, it.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Yeah, I think people are often scared of getting the buff as a spy because sometimes just the overheal particles can give you away even though you think you're cloaked.
I mean, maybe it's just, you know, emotional. But they did do a kind of class check earlier, so they should be kind of aware of it. Sapping the sentry gun, is this Pug TF2? Failing the starbound on the engineer, this is definitely Pug TF2.
So how you want to play that is your spy saps the sentry gun and then one of your soldiers jumps in. That was not what happened. The soldier got completely denied and then the sap came in and no one followed up, so not ideal spy gameplay there.
I mean, I can respect it, kind of looking at the situation, assessing that you ain't getting that medic. That medic is got a wall, a dispenser, and about 5 guards looming around him that you're going to bump into. So going for a different play, I do like it. And mistakes happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't quite sync it up. I'm seeing Omgar on Sniper, I'm seeing Geordie on Sniper as well. Trying to beat you 5
we're just going for the bingo card, really, to see if we can travel every single class. And we've got some King of the Hill later. Maybe we'll have him playing some scouts as well, just to get the full kind of case. However, he will have to go back and maybe change to a different card space, as he does go down on this sniper class.
Yeah, I mean, I've casted Geordie a lot in Prem and Upper Div 1. You know, seems to play a lot. This team's been together a long time. I haven't seen Geordie himself do too much off-classing. Probably because he's been in pocket in the past. It seems he's on Roma this time, and that's given him the freedom to try these off-classes.
Oh, Derry goes down! I just did not trust any sort of chance of Omgo just getting a sniper onto Derry. That shouldn't happen. And the fact that it did, I'm baffled.
Yeah, it's you know, perfectly played in terms of like opening the shutter for the sniper, but Doey's position was like he wasn't aware the sniper was still up on the defense. You know, you don't always have that information, but you kind of just, if you've seen a sniper like a couple of minutes earlier, sure, you just got to play in those positions to avoid it.
Aaron does go for a space-making kind of jump for his team, and that's saying things optimistically. Yimpo is brought down, though, kind of disconnected from the rest of the squad, and just kind of gets scouted down. They throw in an extra soldier. They're throwing everybody into the save your friend syndrome and just trying to make the best out of this awful Uber. And now they're sent back to their last with the tails in between their legs.
Control point is being captured.
Yeah, about as disastrous as it can be. They lost 2 players. They just threw one after another back in. The Legion of Antria in now as well. As 100% up for Doey here.
The panicking, full panic stations. Uber charge comes out. It's so much later. The sentry gun is keeping himself alive for so long. They get a lot of cap time in. The Torch doesn't quite reach it to block it, however. And the first round will go to the boys that pick process.
Yeah, nicely done. They just muscled their way in. They went in, they got the frag before the Uber was even up. They took the risk, they used the fact they have those picks, and they knew they didn't need to immediately kill that sentry gun. The Uber lasted for quite a while. They just got cap time behind it. I think even the medic was body blocking it a little bit, so nicely done.
Alright. Another kind of cool calm collected in there. No quick sort of soldiers ransacking things. They do throw rocks right into the blob. I think once they take care of that first initial soldier, they're more than confident to just take on the rest of the mid with their sort of bigger blob. They lose some casualties, but this is war, and God, it is a lot of casualties.
Really nice chase by the Trust the Process guys. They knew the position they had, they knew they'd absorbed the aggression, and immediately they just turned the back burners on, switch into a much, much higher gear, and there was absolutely no way for Zio to escape. They've taken Shio out, and now Doey once more, they've got the mid-victory, they'll round up, and they have 100% and a big Uber advantage for last, potentially.
So we've got another sentry gun, another heavy weapons guy. They did kind of beef a previous attempt at a last similar like this, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of adjustments they make. Speaking of adjustments, Onga slightly moves the sentry gun to make it just ever so sneaky, and we've even, yeah, they will actually just Uber in now. They deal with this hidden sentry gun. And what's the play from this point? They're holding their lines a bit more in high regard compared to last time. The soldiers won't go straight into the stray and fight. And yeah, the damage is coming on much more cleaner for the process. They're coming from different angles, and like the adjustments they're making in the round like the 2, it's the second one.
Yeah, it's nicely done. It wasn't the classical way to do it. They saw the heavy, they backed up a little bit. They didn't get too much value with the Uber itself. But crucially, they got in positions, they got loaded up, and then the collapse was excellent. A couple of players overextended to block the cap, they finished them off quickly, and they didn't even end up needing to go deep into the spawn door, because they just had a massive number advantage.
Both Evermans are pretty fast, and so are the soldiers as well, so this kind of cancels out both each other in the sort of opening moves of mid. They throw Silvers right into Shio, so with no medic in the kind of cards for Dory has been killed off as well, so no medics. It's really coming down to the wire for both of these teams. It's just turning into a scrappy DM server at this point, but they're a bit more connected over on Trust the Process, and it takes their fights just a little bit stronger.
Yeah, Shio ended up very separated from the rest of his team, and the scouts were aggressive on the crate, trying to deny the players that they were pinned really far back, but then just one soldier bomb comes over, takes out Shio, and there's no chance. A little bit extra healing for Trust the Process was enough for them to squeak out the mid fight, and they're in a very, very nice position in this game now.
With 2-0 up, 12 minutes left, you can effectively slow things down and really frustrate Varmkorv. And is that the time? Is that the play to make, Dave? Or do you still just play normal TF2?
I mean, normal TF2 is kind of just settled down on mid. I expect them to still, make small risks, do solo Saxon soldiers, maybe even one fake bob, one soldier committing. So I think they should still be trying to chance their hand, just not taking any super risks.
They were toying with the idea of going to choke there over on Varmkorv, but I'm not sure if they're kind of positioning themselves to let them in a little bit, just enough to maybe bait a player in or so, but yeah, very, very reserved from Trust the Process so far, and usually the one on the mid wants to make the aggressive plays.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this overall, the fact they're not even, throwing a soldier and they're not even thinking about sacking, because there's still 11 minutes to go. It's only a 2-round difference. There's still plenty of time for a comeback to happen, and you at least want to give yourselves an opportunity for that medic force to come through, for that mid to drop.
The Uber, it's coming in. It snuck its way into sewer. I mean, can you call it sneaking? I guess they just picked a doorway and just came blazing out. And to say they had such a back position and they could keep their eyes everywhere, they seemed a bit shocked by that play. But they respond with Uber and kind. Soldier goes in, soldier goes out and dead.
Yeah, slightly interesting play. I guess they maybe thought the medic would be holding much closer to that door, so they could get a better trade out of it.
It looks like they want to... Is Doey actually a bit kind of caught out here? As there's nobody really protecting. The soldier jump out, and the soldier does find the kill into Doey. So all they have to do now over on Varmkorv is keep Shio alive, and they are doing such good job so far. Silvers with the kind of pin precision rocket does manage to find Shio, so, and with a late sort of kill, that means Doey's going to come back and get that Uber charge advantage just that bit quicker. But silver lining, they will get the mid on Varmkorv for a small amount of time, but surely they won't have it for long. They've got no heals.
Yeah, there are heals up, there are going to be small advantages, so they're trying to lock down this choke point. You can see Hippo playing quite aggressively. Now he's going to have to back up to heals. Zio is in, there's some arrows coming in as well.
Yeah, with the heals back on sites with the boys, and they've got the respawn advantage now, they've managed to delay enough time for them to kind of justify that mid capture now. I'm not sure if Trust the Process were just taking too long there, or if they were just extra credit to Varmkorv's resistance.
Yeah, they didn't really break through that main choke point and ended up just trying to walk it in, trying to take it for free, eating too much spam. You can win a spam war with that healing advantage, but they weren't all equal at the same time.
They're coming in for free, by the way. They do have an overcharge. I think they forgot about this detail, but they're acting like they have it. They got so much cap time, but now that Heavy Weapons guy is on the point, there's no more fun to be had. They pop off an overcharge just to keep things kind of steady and tidy. Shio caught out and might have to be forced to use here. Will force off, but gets the Doughy kill because they were chasing so hard for the overcharge they forget it's an overcharge.
Yeah, that could have worked out perfectly for Varmkorv had Zio been playing a little bit closer to that door, that fourth door, and if he'd been able to leave forward with his scout, he would probably survive. Now it looks like they're going for the ring strike.
Yeah, they are spamming that sentry gun, but it's being spammed with heals just as quickly. Will finally go down, and I think they just need to breathe a sigh of just kind of relaxation. No one trusts the process. If they just keep their sort of point defender from an arm's length, they should have this, but they're losing a lot of players, and with only the Demoman Derpy who's alive. Doughy now the only sole survivor. Johnny comes back the way of the living. He actually buys enough time. Doughy with a massive clutch, and Johnny to save the round.
Wait, that was a drop from Zio as well. I guess he got a sword. I guess he got a sword up to 100%.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I'll let him off. That seems awfully cruel. But Doughy really just using his head, and I'm not even talking about like his actual brains. He used the bust and just started busting it.
That was insane. There's no way he should have lived that long, but just has a magic aura around him, just manages to clutch it out, and yeah, would have been a game on had that round gone through, but now it's...
You got to give credit to Jordy as well. He does get to the point, does clean up those last little remnants. There's a lot of times to just, you could just walk away from your keyboard, so frustrated from just having that round slip.
Yeah, and now, I mean, they've pushed out to second. They had a bit of advantage, but it looks like they're not going to chance their hand. They don't need to make too many aggressive pushes, don't want to make any mistakes in this situation. They've bought a little bit more time for themselves, down to 7 minutes remaining with a 2-round lead.
Ox jumping in, goes behind, and brings a couple of players to that area. I guess Doughy really wants to kind of go into that area as well, take the fight to him.
He wanted more frags.
Yeah. Aaron will go down as well. With 2 soldiers down, it's very possible for the rest of Trust the Process to come back in and make this push happen. Jordy gets in, tries to make some space for his demo man, but Yumpo, credit to him, he's holding that choke with a fine grip. Oh no.
Zio gets forced.
Yeah, okay, so Doughy now realises just needs to posture his team back and just keep their eyes for any sort of shenanigan. Aren comes in with a delayed bomb, very nice on the sticky drop from Derpy Hooves to keep his medic protected from that bomb. And we've got 100% overcharge now. The threat of this alone should be scary for poor Varmkorv.
They're mixing up, they're trying to go through this IT area. They're not smart, they're actually going to have to pop straight out. Ox is ahead of them. The stickies on that rock to deal with as well. It looks like they've chosen to keep Varmkorv was mostly out, but a repush is going to happen as soon as the team fades.
Yeah, they actually decide to stay in the mid. They don't even go for a clean back out over on Varmkorv, thinking that there's no real threat, but they've just lost themselves a little bit in the sort of stalemate fight. And yeah, decisive rocket will end the mid there. Just too greedy for their boots, it seems, over on Varmkorv.
Good wrap around by Silv as well, getting himself deep in that choke, so there's no escape exit at all. Because yeah, there's been a few times where you can see Zio and I guess Ryuji are not on the same wavelength in terms of where they're leaving, and it's really hurt them so far in this game.
2-0, 5 minutes left. It is looking more and more like a process for Trust the Process, and with that hold on this towards their last as well, Onga will get the kill onto Derpy Hooves, but I mean that's not enough to turn around the game. So far you need to not only get picks to stop the attack, you need to attack as well, and attack they shall. They're pushing in now and trying to just beat away poor Jordy from this sort of initial fight. They pop in with Earl now with the overcharge, and he's got a kill onto Yumpo. That's a nice start, but the post-Uber position and fighting is just not too good. The rest of Trust the Process are just nowhere to be seen.
That's a medic main goal if ever I've seen. We're just telling his team to charge in when they're back capping up second. No one was there to follow up, completely encircled. Alex is going to get a sticky trap kill onto Omga in that one-shot store, so that might actually slow Varmkorv down. He probably would have liked to repush with his Uber rod.
Yeah, I can understand at these minute marks people are going to make a bit more mistakes. They're in a rush, you know, they've got a... the only way they're going to win this is if they get kind of aggressive and quick. Though he does go down during all the chaos, I don't know how he kind of got caught out by an overcharge at this point, but that looks like they want to commit more in for a back cap play over on Trust the Process. Could you believe it? They're trying to do it again here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, sure they just have to stabilise a little bit here. They're just losing their medic completely, giving Zio Uber advantage towards one. It's only small this time, it's going to be difficult to make too much of, but the Varmkorv team is just rolling here.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes, it's 2 rounds on the board. I mean, like, I will use the mathematical word if I damn well please. And Geordie, it's time to throw things into the equation as he will take out Hoogie. And oh, nice air shot from Silvez to protect from Aaron. So with that, 3 minutes left. It's again still possible, but they have to kind of still get aggressive here. They've got an Uber charge. I know they're down 2 players, but they need to think about using it in good places. And they were pretty close to the choke as well over on Trust the Process.
Yeah, weird that Trust the Process are not even like willing to commit a single player through. I mean, they're up at 95. I think percent themselves. Surely, Silves could have gone in for a play with those 2 picks, but taking it very cautiously right now.
Ox, he's right on top. He gets some damage onto the Scout. Nothing really to kind of commit in. They use the Uber charge over on Varmkorv now, but they're so disconnected, so fragmented. Oh, Yupo actually getting some nice sorts of kills in the air, surviving for so long, and connects up with Aaron, and yeah, they have a case to be had for the second point again. Scout versus Soldier, Demo versus Scout. Let's see, and oh no, it does not end well.
Yeah, Andre completely denied. Inzio going for swords, but not gonna work out. Ox is trying to bomb some people in choke, but with just over 2 minutes left, we're looking at maybe just one more successful fight will be enough here for Trust the Process.
Yeah, it's looking pretty much over. Yum brought down to 3 HP, brought down to no HP, does go down to the final pistol of Alf, and yeah, this has got to be curtains with this map. But it's okay, it's a best of 3, you can reset, right? Right?
Yeah, different game mode as well, we'll be moved over to Koth. So, in one more all-in fight coming here on mid. It's actually going to be Trust the Process. Still end up rolling it through because they have the help of that Uber charge. They're probably going to clean up Umga, and maybe there'll be a 3rd round on the cards.
Alright, Dave, we need to get our canister of hopium and copium, depending on which side you're on, and justify some of these lives of Varmkorv here. You've lost the first map, but you've still got the second map, and it's your map pick. And it's like, oh god, that's a good copium. And there's still like, you smashed them last time. Maybe you can do it this time.
I will say, anyone who watched that previous game, that upper bracket final, I find it difficult to imagine that with the same 12 players on the server as yesterday, with the same, it being the same team, there was such a breaking task between the 2 teams on Bagel. I'd be very, very surprised if Trust the Process were able to even make it close. But they have looked very, they have looked the superior side on this first map, so maybe they're just on form team tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that while we just counted down the final 10 seconds of the game. Is this really just Trust the Process kind of turning up a bit more, or is the Varmkorv boogie just looking a bit less Varm?
I mean, they could be tiredness because they did play the game earlier on, but they looked pretty smooth early on. They looked to be on their game. I think it's just didn't quite work out as they wanted on Process. It was a close-ish game. It was obviously just the 2 rounds. It wasn't a roll by any means, but just a few moments here and there where Varmkorv made mistakes. They were pretty harshly punished, and when they had opportunities off mistakes from Trust the Process. They didn't punish in the same manner. They weren't as clinical, weren't as aggressive. So I don't. Again, I think it was a pretty close game overall in process. I'm expecting Bagel to be fairly similar to yesterday's game.
All right. Well, there's one thing we can do. We can look at the logs in the meantime. Let me see if I can hunt them down. Sadly, though, logs is the slowest site in the entire world. There we go. Production even gave me the link. How nice. How kind. All right. I'm looking at the bare stats of it all. Alpha's having a hell of a game on Scout. Not only top fragging, but top damaging, Dave. So I hope you've got your applause ready.
I don't know if I can applaud one-handed while push to talk.
I give you credit for
need a soundboard.
But over on the Varmkorv side, they look like they're towering or doing a sort of just performance for all their other players, but they're just, I don't know, there was a couple of rounds just seemed to lose them a little bit. The stats don't look so bad. What is to be blamed for over on Varmkorv here, Dave?
I mean, the only thing I really noticed was a little bit of uncertainty when they had to leave in bad situations. Particularly Gio and the scouts were just not leaving early enough, and a couple of times Gio went down where if they'd left a little bit earlier, they would have lived the scenario. So that obviously that could happen on Bagel. You need to leave super early on any Koth map. But as we saw yesterday, they were so superior on Bagel. I don't expect it to be too much of a problem.
Yeah, over on the process, I feel like the defense of Trust the Process has gone up a level. It feels pretty in tune, or they prioritize dealing with these aggressive soldiers, and it kind of starts off the fight and the dominoes fall from there. And I mean, do they have a different game on Varmkorv? Do you think they could play things a bit defensively, or do you think that's just a map problem, it's fine now, we're on Bagel, continue as planned?
I don't see why they would change stuff up, honestly. I think they've just got to be happy with how stuff is going. This is obviously a different map. You have to play to your strengths. But yeah, Varmkorv will be happy with how yesterday went. They'll just want a repeat of that. On Trust the Process, maybe they'll be thinking about bringing crazy stuff out. Maybe they would be thinking about, even crits, maybe weird off classes, or hopefully, possibly the fact they won gave them a full day to prepare. Maybe they've looked at demos. Maybe they've thought about a complete change of approach on this map, because they're going to need it based on yesterday.
Yeah, if you had to kind of coach it up over on Trust the Process, is there any sort of bullet points you would give these guys to give them a fighting chance on this, or are they just really waiting for the time to tick down to product?
I think that might be one of the things, just keep your mental, because you did get hard 3-0'd yesterday, that even if it doesn't go right here, you can make amends on product and play that map properly, but they'll still want to give it a go. They'll still probably have a few ideas that they want to implement. I think one of the big things on this map is to break through that aggressive forward hold, utilizing Uber exchanges as best as you possibly can. But it does take a lot of time, does rely on Doey surviving in awkward scenarios where they're losing fights. So we'll have to see if he's able to do that.
I'm just waiting for all the players to get kicked into the server here. You know how it is. It's grand final things. We're taking a smoke break after every ref, let alone every break. So just waiting for the last couple of members. I think it's somebody from Trust the Process, if I've done a head count. But yeah, is there any sort of players that have impressed you so far in the first map at all that's this is a player actually to watch out for instead of what we were predicting earlier in the pregame?
I think Alex kind of stood out. He just was always on point basically the whole game. It reflected in the logs as well. He got so many trap kills in that time. Every time it seemed his teammates had thrown an advantage away, or were on the back foot, were having to deal with potential push coming in, potential Uber coming in. He just always seemed to get a trap kill out of nowhere, and it really, really stunted the Varmkorv aggression. It's a different kind of map, though, I guess, that he has to be more on the front foot as well.
Yeah, a lot of eyes are on you in this sort of King of the Hill game mode. And it's good. Definitely a map that plays differently compared to Product. You're a bit more, I would say, shunted to your little house areas, your little bases of operations when it comes to the flanks. I mean, we've seen some soldiers try and get behind, really hard commit, but God, you really have to go far and beyond behind.
Yeah, you do see soldiers, they tend to have to scrap a lot over these flanks, and every time you're walking into either of these flank houses, there is a potential that combo on the beam just rotates and completely wrecks you. You have to get your timing right. You have to be in sync with the rest of your team. I think there's obviously opportunities for soldiers to do high bombs as well and make plays based off of that. But one of the key things of this map compared to particularly Product and some of the other Koth maps is how important the play around the point itself is. The point does cap very, very quickly, but you can also cap it just by standing behind the point and be impervious to any damage shot across by just hiding behind it, playing very, very close. So you often see these situations where a scout from either side is just playing on one side of the point and just blocking each other's cap time.
Speaking of Bagel, Dave, we've had a good chunk of a season playing it and all this stuff. It's getting quite into the eco-EU place of TF2. What do you think of the map? You think it's quite a good addition to the old map pool? Do you think we'll keep seeing more of it in the future?
I think so. I think the thing I like about it more than just how it plays is how different it is to Product. It's nice to have, we had so long where it was just that one Koth map in the pool, which never really makes too much sense overall, I don't think. The fact you had this one Koth map that you could ban, and you could ban a whole game mode out. So having two Koth maps and them being very different, Product being very scout dominant, this map where soldiers can have a bit more fun, but also there's a bit more play around the point. There's a few more close stroke points as well. I personally very, very much like it as a map, and I like the variety it brings.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That I've talked about it a while. I don't think I've ever talked it too much on stream, but I'll go into a drunken rant at a LAN at 3 a.m. It always seemed weird to me that we had a different game mode just for one small section of it, and the rest was just played this particular way. But it's nice to see a fine new addition to things. But it does beg the question: if we're gonna have different map changes, what would you even take out at this point, Dave?
There always seems to be a few maps that get left in because not quite enough people hate them. Granary seems to be one of those maps that I see 10 people every season calling to get banned, but I think it's actually quite a good map overall. It works as well. I think it's a decent map, but some people just absolutely hate it.
Different as well. Very different.
Yeah. Maybe it's just scout mains. Just don't listen to scout mains.
Yeah, it's a scout meta. The scouts are a powerful class right now. So even in the Mumble. But I'm not sure if I could pick between the maps that I left at this point. I appreciate the uniqueness in the way that Bagel brings. Can't say that 10 times, but it's just I really couldn't pick a map. It's all like my children at this point.
I guess Reckoner as well is not quite as favoured. And there's things that count against all the maps. I think even Snakewater is a little bit stale in terms of people have got that last hold down. That a lot of particularly prem matches on Snakewater are pretty slow and pretty boring. So I wouldn't necessarily be against, particularly in non-land seasons, a map like Snakewater being kicked out, but looks like we're about to go live.
All right, if you're just joining us here on Team Fortress TV, you're here with your buddies TurboTabs, Dave and Antimation. We're watching the grand finals of Div 1. Tomorrow's Prem people today will be decided. It's the best of 3. It's our second map. It's match point here for Trust the Process, but it's the map pick here for Varmkorv. And in all that introduction, nobody interrupts me, Dave. How nice of them.
Yeah, very, very nice. as we go into this first minute.
They're just like, I was expecting somebody to jump in, anyone to start off things, but it was Silvez that will go aggressive now. Jordy tried to kind of back up his boy, but they instead just want to absorb that player and kill him off. They do cap the point for all of 2 seconds over on Trust the Process, but they just use the superior numbers over on Varmkorv and take the point back.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of teams try to do this thing where they get the soldier to initiate and then they cap the point off the back of it. But unfortunately, if you lose even one player on the team, it becomes so easy for that man advantage to be used.
We've used Ubers out for just like, those sort of green light or red lights to go kind of Ubers, straight in, straight out, Uber forced, nothing really kind of hurting poor Varmkorv as, they're just going to reset.
I mean, they popped the Uber through, but they lost 2 players to the trap while it was happening, so they're going to try and repush now. They're 6 men are up, I guess, but
Jordy actually getting behind here. The scouts are on his case, though. He will go down, and it does allow some space for the rest of his team to come in. They need to justify his sacrifice, and God, they are just sacrificing some more, Dave.
Yeah, Ox going in, taking out Alf is on the chase for Dowie as well. He gets a decent serve, keeps himself alive in a very tenuous scenario. And they're still waiting for spawns here, Trust the Process, but Dowie does live.
I am seeing the difficulty they're having. It seems like Jordy gets in perfectly fine, but he just can't keep himself alive for long. I'm not sure if he needs to play a bit more defensive in these sort of things. He does go aggressive as soon as he gets his way in there, and God, they have been just wiped out here over on this left-hand side. Fortunately, Dowie wasn't in the mix of during all of that, so he will have an overcharge now advantage finally going into this mid, but so much time has been dealt.
Yeah, that was obviously like a fake push where they baited out the Uber and they did a good job of it, but as you say, there's already 2 minutes down.
Ox watching the lobby area, everybody else is just holding that sort of big doorway from an arm's reach. Will commit in now, won't find any sort of damage onto Dowie, so mission accomplished so far for the Trust the Process lads. Can they trust the Bagel to actually cap out and keep it defended though? They cap it off and back off immediately, and I think they're just going to recap simply over on Varmkorv, but they're just not
advantage this whole time. They could be holding a bit more aggressive, at least pressuring back and trying to get a forward hold. But now they're going to pop the Uber out. But Zio's already up to 90%. Impo's going to get taken out before it, so they're going to have to reset and wait for their spawns here on Varmkorv. But they do have a full Uber advantage now.
They are human the idea of actually pushing him without their demo man. Impo is just coming back to the world of the living now. They just poking at some doorways. They're waiting for the big bad blue to come back, and he is back, baby. He is trying to rain fire. He's got some damage on Dowie, but he actually clips everybody else in the sort of fighting for that Dowie kill.
That was actual destruction from him. He's BMing them in chat. He deserves to do that because, I mean, not ideal scenario where Trust Process were all trying to leave the same door as a Uber demo and flew in at them, but yeah, that was a nuke and a half.
I mean, is it the biggest steal in the world? They do lose a lot of players, sure, but Dowie caught off! Oh, nobody paying attention to Ox there, slips in, gets the kill onto Dowie. I was about to say it would be all worth it to keep Dowie alive and get another Uber charge off, but it's not gone to plan here, Dave.
Oh, and Arantra's just lived this whole time just playing around that hill back. Eventually he's cleaned up, but he's bought so much time and so much distraction. His team is already looking to cap out these last 3 seconds.
They need to rush to the point, 2 seconds left. I'm not even sure if they can get a pinky toe on there. Silvez gets his pinky toe on there and allows all the other pinkies to turn back, but these pinkies are crying all the way home. Wah, Dave.
And yeah, if we thought it was going to be a different case to yesterday's game, this first round has got to be a big realization of exactly what the root of things is going to be.
Still fighting on single digits for a majority players of Trust the Process, and it's looking pretty clinical, but there are 2 more rounds in this for Trust the Process, and again playing very cool, calm and collective over on Varmkorv, waiting for those initial jumps, and they're not giving it to them over on Trust the Process. They're playing it slow and just taking the free ground, taking the point. They throw Silvez in and actually gets a kill onto Hugie, that's a nice thing to kind of solidify this defense, I think. No scouts got hurt.
Yeah, but just the process, they're not super aggressive. They got 3 frags there for the price of 1. Still didn't really press the issue. Still very easy for Zio to leave. We didn't have to get out super quickly. They really didn't chase. Just took too long, and the aggression from the Just the Process guys is not matched.
Oh no! Unpo goes through the trap. I guess it wasn't called out by the rest of his squad, as he will go down, and it's a sad Uber if you don't have a demo man in the mix. So with Alf taking a big solo Uber, trying to chase out, but it can't really catch up to the opposing scout taxi.
Yeah, there is spawns up now for Trust the Process, but the fighting is continuing. Alex is not really weak. Oh, he's going to have to get healed up as well. They're all going to just have to go back. There's no buffs between them. Bob is now coming in from a rancher. He's going to try and land towards Zoe, going to get himself in behind. But they've bought a lot of space, a lot of time for his team. Geordie trying to fight, but he walks into 2 buff scouts, and that's only going to end one way.
Yeah, they lost, I think it was Alf on the flank house, and it just kind of fell from there. With 1 less player accounted for, you can't keep an eye on all these doorways and allow Aaron to come back and do some devastating damage. They do come back in now, but there's an Uber charge bubbling away very soon for Shio, and there we go, we popped it off. We've spotted Dowie, he's taken out, punished for this over-aggression. They do get a kill onto the Yimpo, but he's going to call out to you, surely a mission accomplished.
Yeah, and Zio was able to pick up Doey's minigun as well, got a 50% bonus percentage for himself as well. As tries to go in behind, tries to go into the medic, but very smart play from Zio.
Very nice. I keep forgetting that's a mechanic. You don't really see that nowadays.
Very rarely. It has to be really.
Oh, they've got an Uber charge again. They're going to be like, not again. How did they get it so quickly? Dowie is panicking. He's into the crater once more. Are they going to pick up this Uber, this medigun one more time? I don't think he even had anything built in the car. Nice shot coming out from Sol. There's a sliver of hope here in this server, as he will kill the medic off for Varmkorv. And now Dowie can actually start getting an Uber advantage for a change.
Yeah, he's chatting a lot in chat. I don't know if the tilt is coming in, but seems like copium at the moment. There's 2 soldiers in behind Ox and a rancher here. They do a lot of damage. Take out Earl, but looks like Ox. Oh, nice serve, gets himself out of there.
Yeah, moral victory for Ox, as he will get out, and with a Uber charge and holding the doors rather close for Team Dowie. They don't have the Uber just yet, so if they're quick over on Varmkorv, they might actually catch them off by surprise. They should be calling out the push now. It's coming in slowly from left. The soldiers come in to deal with this aggression. Silvez is dealing with it. He's not only dealt it, he's killed it. Yumpo goes down, and they need to solidify, calm down a bit over on Trust the Process, deal with the blowback of all these soldiers. They pop up Uber charge now. They don't have it on Shio, and Shio's going to go down. So the lake for the rest of his team, but they're bleeding players during all of this Uber charge. There's too much chaos for the rest of Trust the Process. Dowie might get caught out here. He's being bombed out. He's dodging very well to say there's all these pipes around. He does go down for his efforts. His team is just not there in time, and now there's more of a revenge mission rather than a save mission.
Yeah, both sides going super deep for the medics, and both paying for it with the spawns coming in crucial times. Medics just doing their best to survive, buy a little bit of time, waste a little bit of their opponent's arrows. This ammo, sorry. This round is a lot closer, a lot more back and forth scrap, and we're actually seeing Trust the Process have a bit of an advantage here.
Yumpo fighting from point, gets the free capture, nobody really stopping that, and they just think about playing the sort of same similar game here, cap it back rather quickly, but it puts Deep Derby Hooves in a sort of scary position, very low health, manages to get enough health pumped into him to keep him alive, but the rest of his team is suffering for it. There's no attention drawn to them.
Yeah, they will get the spawns a little bit quicker, but I'd like to see maybe Alf to stand on the point and try and block it. They do block it just about in time here, but there's 2 scouts ready to stand on the button.
Yeah, everybody comes back from Trust the Process again, and they actually managed to pop off the Uber before the bomb from Aaron coming around the flank to maybe drop him, and they exchange Ubers at the same time as well, so it's not even the worst sort of force or situation in the world for Trust the Process, but they haven't got the point during all this. It is tinking away at Varmkorv, and with the dominoes falling fairly even, and this should go the way of Trust the Process now.
Yeah, Impo had to stand on the point to block the cap coming in. He just got rushed down by Af. Nice shot from Arantri. He's going to find one rocket onto Dowie as well.
Jordy finds the medic though. Chio goes down, and with Dowie still alive but not healing anybody. And it actually has enough confidence to move back up a front ahead, because they had to go back just to kill off Jordy. He didn't suicide for the kill, he just got the kill and kept on fragging. And Ox comes around the flank, doesn't quite find the kill. Yupo overcommits because of Ox jumping in, and I understand. It's because they're all going for that point. It was in overtime, and it's a round on the board. Hope's in their hearts, Dave.
Maybe the chat coming out from Dowie is in his opponent's minds. Maybe the mind games rather than copium is coming out, and the moments seem to have got themselves in a good position, that in a bit more parity in this game. Important thing though was they did win that last mid fight, set them up well.
Okay, again, very, very calm, collected gameplay from Varmkorv. It's always been up to Trust the Process. It's worked once, but it hasn't worked twice. Let's see what they think is going to work this time. Pressuring Yumpo, he's brought down pretty low. Surely he's going to be a pinch strike on that guy. Silvez comes in rather late to the party, however, and gets killed off for his time. And they even lose Earl on the flank at this point. Jordy, desperation bomb goes in, doesn't quite find any, but actually finds Yumpo, excuse me. But it's not great over on Trust the Process. They just had one person die and they got a bit desperate.
Yeah, if there is a vulnerability in these mid-fight points, it's definitely in post positioning, where he's playing close to the point, doesn't have too much support around him. If they do manage to focus him down quickly enough, there is an opportunity there for Trust the Process.
So they have Uber charges on both this team, so I think they can just keep playing this back and forth point capture. It's kind of up to these flanks to see who kind of wins out. They actually, instead, it's the cores taking the fight, grinding against each other with their Uber charges, realizing they can't really commit too much. The soldiers go for the post Uber jumps now. Doesn't really find the kill on Dowie, but he's brought down low enough. Fine Clive to finally fish out a kill onto Dowie. So the point of this is played by Shio and company, and Shio needs to stay alive if this is going to solidify over on Varmkorv.
Yeah, it's slightly strange from Dowie. He seemed paralysed in place. He was down to 12 health, but surely had enough time to swivel himself back out, at least out of sight line of a scout or Impost firing those long range. Hype set him to just try and get to a health pack back behind. Obviously, giving up that heal wasn't an ideal scenario, but it was so low.
And they're just playing the same sort of patient gameplay that they've always gone for on these mid-fights. The soldier's made himself known. The boyfriend bomb comes in right on top of Shio. Uber charge forced, but with everybody going down and the flank doing such work, Ox is still alive during all of this, need I remind you. It's basically just a forced lose.
Yeah, I don't like how aggressive, particularly Alex and Dowie, are playing when their team is going in. I think they should be leaving immediately, because you can go so fast and so quickly in behind as a soldier on this map, and as soon as you wrap it's over.
We're forcing lobby here, Dave. It's not really a surprising call for any team to make, and I can see that they were prepared over on Varmkorv. So with one player just kind of going down, that is back to the drawing board for poor little Trust the Process.
All stacking up in this low ground area, trying to break through. The post thing is Earl can't do. He goes down before. They've lost Silves as well. That's 2 men down. It's now 3 against.
Turn around.
5 actually. A couple of frags in their favour. But Ongoing's kind of disconnected. He might get found as well.
The little skirmishes happening in flank, happening on mid, happening on behind as well. They win all 3 out of 3, a rare sort of thing, as a lot of those they should not have won. And the only saving grace is that they have an Uber charge on Shio, and they've kept that person alive.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait for a scout before taking this Uber back in aggressive. They've even had to give up the cut, but now they can potentially hold the WG. Actually, not even chancing it, really. They're just going to cap it out, going to settle back, going to try and retain this uber advantage that they have, and just try and block the point a little bit more.
I think Silvers wanted to jump there. He has to take another sort of prepared go at it, and he's fighting against Ox. Will get him down, but they just their blob seems so much stronger to deal with. And with a player behind, they think, okay, this is just our moment. Let's just give it a shot over on Doey. But with no overcharge to go into this, actually the skirmishers, if I turn my camera around, they actually have the dust settled the way of Trust the Process. The Impo's going to come back into the fight, throwing all in at this point in the kitchen sink. They've got overtime over on Varmkorv, so they're still in a powerful position.
Yeah, he got really nice height with his serve as well there, Doey, but unfortunately the soldier got launched up a little bit after, so he was able to land an easy rocket on him. Going to cap the point out though, UG takes a lot of damage before it happens, but Geordie is cleaned up. Big bomb in from Silves, making a bit of space. Get some frags actually, but not enough plays to block the cap while all that is happening.
Yeah, they were finding a few kills, but I think they saw the bigger picture over on Varmkorv, and very well played for them just to play off their huge advantage like that. Just had to fight near the point and just kind of keep battered people off there. So that works out for them quite nicely. Round possible for Trust the Process, but they need to make 2 now if they want to win this out over and win the map and match.
Yeah, they've at least got that one round, which is a little bit better than they did last time. It looks a little bit closer overall, but good adjustments thus far by Varmkorv. They're giving the cap time, but I assume they're going to send on the accelerator quickly.
Again, they're all waiting on Silvez's bomb, and Silvez has been isolated, controlled, and Aaron actually coming around the flank now. He owns that house, and he's putting it to good use to get some nice damage at. And it's just going the way of Varmkorv, and they go for this slow, steady approach. And I don't think they have it in them to not jump somebody in on Trust the Process. They just need it.
It's a problem for Trust the Process. If they sit back, they're losing the spam war. If they're throwing the soldiers in, it's not getting followed up on. Neither real approach is working yet.
They managed to get in though. Geordie, on top of the demo man, gets the kill, and he's still surviving enough to maybe throw some rockets at Shio as well. They respond with their own Uber charge over on Trust the Process, but they're multiing a lot, and they do find the random roamer just kind of hanging about in their lobby area, but that was a lot of Uber attention for that one player.
Slightly questionable Bob though, I have to say, Gio wasn't super close to dying, wasn't super under threat, and they ended up getting the worst Uber out of it. Imagine a bust. You see, Trust the Process didn't even have time, they didn't have a conclusive victory to set up that forward hold, so it's a lot easier for Varmkorv to come back in.
Oh, Silvez, there we go, gets the kill onto Yumpo now. Surviving for a long time, actually. I think it's because a lot of players were kind of tied down from Varmkorv to actually clean him up, and they weren't even tying things well.
Now Silvers has some space, launches himself in towards Zio to finish up by after going forward. Last chance for Ops to jump in. He gets one rocket down onto Doey, but it's not going to be
Another
enough.
soldier coming in. Oh, it doesn't quite find Doey. I mean, valiant effort though. They're actually getting on top of them, and it's quite a scary place for all of Trust the Process there. Everyone's just, I think Shio was just kind of didn't get the memo of what they were doing at that moment, just kind of caught out.
Yeah, it definitely looked a bit uncertain, and it was a very easy bomb for Silvers to get in.
Oh god, we are just really entering the meat grinder, aren't we? We just enter the doorway and just hope we get through the doorway, but they're full of holes, and so is their plan.
Yeah, can't even make a sack attempt onto Doey if he can't get through those doorways. All the explosive classes just playing very close in those straight areas, and
that was
there's
a sack.
no entrance.
Alright, they're holding pretty close. Is this a pause? It is. Ooh, okay, so we're taking our map very seriously here, Dave. I mean, we can make predictions about what this means. There's 90 seconds left in the future, and
mission ends in 60 seconds.
Good educated guess could maybe lend you to think which team has won a round, and then need to have a tactical pause.
So it's either a very clutch moment at the end of this fourth round, or it's Trust the Process having completely shut out the end of this round with this impressive forward hold and a big tech pause coming in from Varmkorv.
You know,
Either
if
way, it's interesting.
we didn't already have a little vote about who's going to win this game, I would love to have like a audience press your keypads now. Who is going to come out in these sort of little 50-50 scenarios? But the technology is just not there, Dave. Anyway, speaking of, I was going to ask. I never really asked. Who did you think was going to win the entire grand final? We got so kind of caught up with it that I can finally catch up with it now.
5, 4,
Before the
3,
game, and
2,
certainly before this Bagel game, I'd probably have favoured Varmkorv overall, just because the Bagel yesterday was so convincing in their favour. It's just a complete shutout, and I don't see how that doesn't at least partially translate to product, even if it is, a bit of a different map. It's still Koth. You still think the team that has the better Koth gameplay will win, but as we've seen on this Bagel game today, looks a little bit closer once Trust the Process get themselves going, once they're not just completely steamrolled, once they're not stuck in that being camped in their own spawn the whole time. They actually have some decent gameplay going.
Yeah, I think they was looking really solid on Bagel, but then I don't know, these last couple of rounds, these last moments, a lot of bleed is happening. No bandages, is what seemed like very controlled, coordinated kind of counter attacks have just turned into kind of throwaway attacks, and they just throw away their lives completely. Can't seem to get on top of anyone that they have chosen for these bombs.
It'd be interesting to see if they go for maybe a pyro, because the problem they're having at the moment is this main choke point that is obviously where they get those two kind of smaller exits from. That's just being completely shut down by the double soldier, Geordie and Sills, both peeking quite deep, both having a buff quite a lot of the time, just spamming rockets down, making it very, very difficult to move through. You see it so frequently on product that you have that pyro used to break the forward hold, and you can just go back to spawn if you need to. I'd like to see them potentially bring it out on this map as well.
Yeah, I think the difference making here is that you get a bit more hope in the map design. Once you get this lobby area, say over on Varmkorv, you have options. You feel like you can just go round to what seems more like the weakest door. Over on Product, you are hard committed to a door. Everything is just like a tunnel to go into that place, and if you're going to enter, you have to commit to a tunnel. You might as well just go for the sort of anti-door, limit down the spam class. But this one, maybe they can get a bit more greedy with it. But you're right, maybe that's what's kind of making things difficult, because they just don't think that they need there's not a tunnel. They don't need the anti-tunnel, but maybe they do.
I think almost they do. It's kind of analogous to that product game. The reason why you bring that pyro on product is because trying to walk through a cliff on product against that demo mode with the sticky traps is so difficult. You never bring your combo there. On this map, it's very, very similar. When they've got those two soldiers up here in this close choke, you're never going to be able to walk a combo here. But this means you're going to have to move your combo like through this lower area where you can see that where LX is playing is just fully stickied it up. So difficult to move through that point. If they are kind of aware of how these soldiers are playing and how there wasn't that much support for them. I mean, there's a scout vaguely nearby, but I still think a pyro could potentially do work if they find that kind of solution at the right time.
Now, there's a lot of little tiny things that make pyro just feel a little bit bad. I mean, I don't think it's like a big deal, but enough to annoy me, anyways, is the gap between spawn and the doors that you are pushing. Just having to waddle a pyro all the way through there, and you can't really change your pyro tactic anymore. He can't change doorways quickly, so you are picking the door and you are doing that. You can't take advantage of that, and it might kind of leave your pyro pissing in the wind a bit. Also, the map's a bit larger when it comes to like chasing down players, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to keep going and contribute. And yeah, just those little caveats just seem to be like icky.
Yeah, I mean, it's not guaranteed to work. I think particularly teams that are expecting a pyro know how to play against it, and the soldiers just back out. They don't fire any rockets, allow their scouts to deal with it. If they play it smartly like that, the pyro isn't a particularly strong class, but it can at least make some space for you, because these last couple of pushes that they've tried to make on Varmkorv, they've just had absolutely zero space because of the spam.
All right, I'm all for tactical pausing, but I'm pretty sure this is a tactical reschedule. Where is these players?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, wish granted. Thank you, guard players. You must have heard my cries as we have on pause now. The action continues, and hopefully we'll catch up at some point during all the exchange. They managed to get in over on Varmkorv, over on this left-hand side, but they're being mulched from the rest of the flank, and got to be a bitter pill to swallow when you've got one half getting in and one half just completely getting out, back to the spawn. So everybody has to get out now.
This kind of higher choke, these two soldiers, Silves and George, are completely patrolling. So even if they're able to get in through the lower area, there's always that potential threat of the rat.
They're coming in. Silvez immediately wants to punish Ox for just coming in and trying and buying space for his team. Gets a nice stylish jump as well as a kill. They force the Uber charge. He might get out, not quite, and they exchange Ubers over on Trust the Process. They find Shio. That is going to be a dead medic if I've ever seen one. Hughie might go down, doesn't quite get the skirmish fight he was looking for, and it seems this seems to be the strength of Trust the Process. It is these little skirmishes they take, and it's going back to that bad aspect of their gameplay again, where they have to just go for these scrappy picks on a blob, Dave, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, really well fighted by Trust the Process, as they are just about going to see this round out. They got that kill onto Zia, then immediately all 6 players just fully pulled back all the way to their side of the point. Just blobs up around Doey, kept him alive. A little bit scattered aggression from Varmkorv, but they're going to have to find a solution after this long tactical pause.
Varmkorv have had a big long look in the mirror, and I guess it's more of an ego mirror for Just the Processes. We'll see what they make changes on both sides in this final mid. Let's see what they cook up. I'm seeing nothing in the prime pan so far. Where's the cook? Potentially
last round were Trust the Process to take this would win themselves, the other one would get themselves into Premiership next season, so backs against the wall for Varmkorv here.
Yeah, they're just playing very, very steady TF2. The exchange soldiers on the flank, very, very Roma gameplay. And Silvez and Arcs are just having their own little sort of soldier final flank. They finally pop off an Uber charge on Amp now, and they're just trying to scout taxi it out, milk it for all the drop coming out of the Shio. This is devastating. If they can solidify now and Just the Process, this is a very strong footing for the beginning of this round, and nobody's initially dying. It's looking very nice for Just the Process. They're throwing in Yumpo. He goes down again. The same sort of gameplay I'm calling them out for. They have to go back to it again, and it keeps going badly every time.
Doc, come on, man.
It's like, you know, you've got that farmer, but you've got that disease cow. You milk and milk and milk, and just terrible stuff comes out. It did not work out for them at all. Just milked too long. Just tried to hold on to that Uber.
The Pyros come out, they're not wasting time, they're getting back in, they actually get a kill onto Geordie, who's just not used for a Pyro to come out in this gameplay, and with Earl so blindsided by just the rest of Varmkorv coming out so quickly, the Pyros paid off in dividends, but they have to bring the scout back now, as I think, did he kill himself in the end there to kind of come back as scout? I think he might have. They've used the Uber charge and Doey, keep in mind, but they've got nothing with it. Foot kiss. Now this is where the strengths are showing a bit wider. Nice kind of kill coming out from Geordie, but it still ends the same. They're coming back into the fight potentially. They've overextended Doey, however. Mistakes are being shown, warts and all, from both sides of the team. And now it is finally a day for the dogs of Varmkorv.
Wow, obviously during that tactical pause they were listening to me on the cast as well. They bring out the Pyro, they execute it perfectly, they push their combo up behind that Pyro and make it work. Bit of a scrappiness after that actually.
Geordie, he's on top of Shio and gets the force onto the Ubercharge, and because it's in a sort of closed door, house area, they can't do anything with it. They do get Geordie, but he's laughing, he's smiling. Another push. Ox goes down again. They keep doing that thing where they're throwing their players in away into the blob that is more than well prepared for them, and they're just playing things awfully slow on Trust the Process, faltering, coming from each side. And they do have the point now. They actually managed to tick past the time that they set up here over on Trust the Process now. And it's looking more like a traditional mid at this point. Aren goes down though. A weakness set aside. They do force off the Uber over out of Dowie, but with a scout going down, a soldier going down, and finally Yumpo getting caught out. This is just a good Uber.
Yeah, smartly played by Trust the Process. They just play towards the point, walk back a little bit, bait their opponents forward to try and block, thinking they're not going to use, and then just put themselves back in the forward gear and use the Uber aggressively. They didn't get the medic. Zio will have an advantage, but they do have a lot of position here.
Maybe risking. They were hoping to. Oh, they're holding too close. The medic's pretty close to this right-hand side. They should spot him, see, and they're taking the scout taxi and seeing if they could just find anybody that wants to stay away from that medic, and it's just a free gobble-up kill. Not popping the Uber just yet. No one is there to force them. Finally, Silvez will come in right now. Focusing Yumpo. Changes for Shio. And Derpy Uve even commits in, really wants to go for the suicide, and Shio doesn't force out the Uber charge, buys enough time for Dowie and company to have their Uber charge ready, but they don't have any players ready.
Yeah, I'm going to take about 20 years to kill him, but it didn't matter because Zio was just able to hold S away from the incoming Alex. He wasn't able to do too much damage down onto him, and now we have a foothold once more from Varmkorv.
You know, they've come in through the middle door, they've popped nice and early over on Trust the Process. I'm not too sure about this. They will pop really quickly in response though, and a nice little airshot coming out from Mox. This might be the tighter, much better bombs this time in areas that they were feeling a bit weak before, finding a Demoman kill, finding a soldier kill, and they have to try and counter-attack over on Trust the Process, and they're holding a nice solid blob. No real flanks coming in from Trust the Process now. They just want to solidify and calm things down in the respawn and hope that their 6 players can just take the fight against their 5 or 4 players. But Silvez immediately feeds over to the respawns of Varmkorv, and they're back in the driver's seat and they can go aggressive now.
Yeah, they had a 2-player add slightly, but still jumps in behind, tries to make the space, and walks into those 2 respawning soldiers from Varmkorv.
So much behind. Aren actually getting a kill onto the flank. They pop off the Uber charge. They have the Uber over on Shio. Pops off as well. Ox gets a kill onto Derby, who's coming during that entire massive flank. Dowie is caught out. I don't know why you're shooting a medic at this point though. The fragging classes are aiming at fragging classes over on Just the Process, and it's sailing them a victory at this point. They claim back the point. 50 seconds left. They're even chasing Silvez for Shio, but it will keep himself alive. And Aren has to pick up the pieces of what seems to be a disaster priority Uber.
Yeah, Zio lived through all of that, but he wasn't building, so he comes out with pretty much the same amount of percentage as Dowie. Dowie wasn't actually picked up, so there's going to be a slight advantage here for Zio, but they're already just muscling onto the point.
Silvez straight in again, straight feed, meals on wheels, sign here and here. Elf does get a drive-by kill up Oxen gets back out. Every single kill that is gifted is taken from Trust the Process. They even weasel out Hugie to go down, and with a scout down, that's got to hurt the size of this sort of defensive mid. No real jump in and committal, however. Earl will be the one to kind of get back in. They pop off an Uber now to go aggressive into Dowie. He doesn't quite have the Uber charge, will get the kill onto them now, but can the post-Uber fight even go the way of them? They need to all collapse onto them right now over on Trust the Process. I don't know why we're shooting at medics. We can go for some bragging classes. Everyone else has come back. They have managed to get Omgo instead. Shio, maybe now is finally the time to go for this medic class. Can't quite find him. Will get 6 seconds left on the clock. Is there any respawn? Is it such a big map? Dowie is trying to get to it, but he can't block it this time. It's a final round for Varmkorv. They will win their map pick, but God, have they turned it around.
That was close, tense stuff at the end of that. And both sides are doing some great stuff, hitting some nice shots, and as you say, both of them making big mistakes in target priority, both of them focusing down a medic when it just wasn't on the cards. They needed to get frags onto those damage dealing classes, and didn't quite make it happen there. Trust the Process, but they can at least take solace in that it was a much closer game.
When the chips are down, Dave, you revert to your initial programming, and medic equal good. When it comes to kills, So I can sympathize, and maybe if you get the medic like that, it does kind of change the shift. It's a bit easier in like game plan because if you kill the medic, everyone on your team knows what they need to do. But if you just go for like these sorts of little skirmishes and trades and kind of sync up your play and all this stuff like that, you have to kind of like trust one another to kind of follow up or kill each, or just play off each other's damage and target prioritization, and that's much harder to pull off than just lol kill medic.
Yeah, and double overtime, just nowhere near the medic being nowhere near Uber, just not a high priority target. Even if you just kill his pocket and make sure you can't build that Uber anymore, it was more than enough. And yeah, it's just that's the difference in these top Div 1 sides and the Prem sides. The Prem sides will know, they'll have a good strong main call, they'll have good focus scores, they'll know when not to target that medic down and when to go for the combat classes.
I'm looking at the logs now, and I could have sworn I clicked the same logs from before because they're looking kind of. I mean, the frags are much higher. There's numbers all high, but when it comes to just where people are and what sort of performances come out, the only one that's really changed for me is Yumpo. He's kind of taken a mirror match. He's not quite figuring out this King of the Hill map as he should, and he seems to be going down a lot more. And because of that, not really committing as much damage as these used to. But I've got to give a shout out to Varmkorv soldiers. They put in work, I felt.
Yeah, both of them were hugely impactful. They were second and third on the damage. They were both positive, actually, which is kind of unusual on Koth, but particularly compared to their soldier counterparts, Silves and Geordie, who were a little bit more expendable. They were kind of going forward and making space for the rest of their side. The Varmkorv soldiers, the soldiers were the impact classes themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to tell who kind of was struggling for the very beginning of the game. Look at Derry's and Shio's difference in deaths. Double. It just, they were very punishing over on that Varmkorv side against Derry. And it kind of clicked a bit more when they were like throwing people to Derry's sort of thing and realizing their plan B is not very good. They're not very good at taking out Derry once the things go a bit wrong for them over on Varmkorv, but they just couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you're getting so many more medic frags and 4 more Ubers across the game as well for Zio, that does make a big difference. Af certainly did his best. Comes out with 36 and 13, top fragging, top damaging on the server, doing about as much as he can, but he just didn't have, his medic to work with quite as long as his opponents did.
I'm going to give the miniest min shout out to Silvez as well. The man was the instigator. He was the sort of striking pin for the entire game to actually get going because nobody was jumping. Nobody was jumping. Silvez was the only one to kind of brazenly go in, but there were times where he brazenly fed, and that be the life of brazenly going in sometimes. So it sounds like I'm harsh, but I'm giving you some break here, Silvez. It's hard life.
And he immediately has his chance now on product to redeem himself. He's probably going to be playing the similar kind of role, where he's going to be the one trying to make space, trying to go in behind, trying to initiate. I expect him to be jumping probably cliff a lot if he's playing that side of the map, and probably a little bit easier in terms of just to get himself to safety, get himself deeper away from those incoming players. So we'll have to see. We have seen like Prem teams, they've particularly the Frenchies, they kind of changed strategies a little bit on this map where they just had players like starting off behind to try and shut down that immediate aggression. So we'll have to see whether the witness guys found a way around that by just having both soldiers jump at the same time in the same kind of area. So we'll see if they've been watching any Prem demos here.
It's got to give a bit of confidence to trust the process when it comes to this product map now. Like you said earlier, King of the Hill, I mean, it is a map that plays vastly different to a lot of other King of the Hills compared. It used to be just like a poor man's product, but still King of the Hill. You still have these sort of playing the fine lines and seeing if you can, just prioritize your damage in the right places and get those sort of fishes out.
And yeah, if Af is having the game of his life as he seemed to be on that Bagel game, the process as well is pretty impressive. If he's just the kind of alpha scout and he's just dominating everyone on the server, it's going to have much, much more impact on this product map.
We're on the third map now. Is there such thing as gamer fatigue, Dave, or are you still just fired up? Are you playing as good as your sort of map 1 gameplay here, or is this going to be even better gameplay? Are they warmed up?
I would expect, certainly on the trust the process side, they should be warmed up. They should be ready to go. They should feel they're in the zone. They've had a longer day on Varmkorv, but they did have I think it was a 5-0 and 5-1 earlier, so pretty easy game in the lower bracket final. So they probably shouldn't be too fatigued themselves, but having to play at 5 and then having to play at 9, it isn't ideal. It has been a long day for them, but they shouldn't be quite out just yet. Hopefully they got one more map in them.
All right, I'm just going to ask the big old fat question, Dave. Who's going to win? Who am I putting all my channel points on?
Oh, I'm feeling trust the process.
He's a believer. He wants to shake things up. I'm going to go with the easiest sort of, script gameplay, and I'm going to back the boys of Varmkorv. I think they're going to shatter dreams. If you're just joining us, this is ETF2L 6v6 Summer 2023 Div 1 playoffs. It's our final map of the grand final of Div 1. Whoever wins this is going into Prem. Let's get somebody into the mid. Hello?
They're arguing over the config.
I see. Okay, I thought we were going. Whoopsie. I was a bit shocked by them, but yeah, there you go.
We're seeing the Yeti taunt come in after the first kill on this mid.
They have to change all the overtimes and all this stuff. Okay.
How many years have these guys been playing? They still don't know how to exec a config. I don't know. Clips your mind occasionally, but here we go. Looks like we will be going live for real this time.
Oh, for real, Z's. No takesy back Z's right here in the grand final Z's. It sounded better in my head. Anyway, welcome to the Div 1 grand finals. Whoever wins this wins Prem. It's Trust the Process versus Varmkorv Boogie. What have they got cooking? Is there going to be a jump this time? No. Yes.
So just spamming from their high ground position.
Aaron managed to get in, but it takes the friendly fire of 5 players all on top of him when trying to impersonate a teammate and doesn't quite get a kill for Varmkorv. They will kind of deal with Earl going a bit aggressive, and again, I don't know, they keep going across the point and exchanging every time somebody goes down for each squad.
Yeah, they just Trust Process has baited their opponents on Varmkorv forward. They just got that one frag, that was enough to repush. Now they have Julie up on the sniper as well.
Oh, god damn it. Now I have to look at his POV in full time now, Dave.
Well, not if he gets bombed. He's going to get rushed down like usually. There's going to be an Uber out here. Just going to trade it out here. Turbo Tabs as Erendry tries to make some space in behind and get onto that sniper.
Yeah, they're just playing very conservative on both teams, not really one. Actually, Ox finally going in now, has to deal with the sniper, but he's being buffed and he's just pesky and it takes a long time to go down, and you're feeling the sort of pain of just not having that another fragging class when everybody gets on top of you.
Yeah, it worked out well at the end. You know, when you're playing against the sniper and you want to go against all that, I mean, that certainly worked, but so when it's not a known sniper, when it's somebody who doesn't play sniper that much, do you even have to respect them that hard?
The Pyro, it's coming out to bust the tunnel, and he's already gonna get maybe shot down. Oh, but still alive here. Ox is kind of thrown in to just keep dreams alive of this forward hold, but it doesn't really work out, and mission accomplished. Dowie is in, and yeah, so the rest of the squad, they can start weaseling their way back into things, but not really finding any kills, no easy targets I'm seeing on the board, Dave.
Yeah, Geordie got
What
an
the-
air shot busted through there, went down to 12, wasn't trying to finish up. So it
Info.
could be a longer Uber for Varmkorv. They're defending the point just about with info. The CS sending a little bit far forward, damage down onto Dowie as well, but at the moment they still control the point.
Soldiers exchanging fights over on the flank. They commit in Silves now to kind of lay some damage on what the flankers bought space for, but it's only a couple of kills onto the soldiers, not really a big monumental loss for Varmkorv. And with no Ubers in exchange and still some foot on their own soil, they can make them re-push.
Yeah, looking to posture up towards Cliff, taking their time, slight Uber advantage, but nothing really to work with from that end of things, just making sure they've got their players back in position, but trying to get a bit of damage down, trying to get a bit of cap time before the aggression comes in.
Silves finds Aaron and gets the kill onto him. Derpy Hooves going down as well, so this is looking a bit kind of dire here for Just the Process, and Dowie is still so far in. Manages to get out, no extreme chase coming out from Varmkorv, being merciful, and now going into a forward hold.
Yeah, so huge picking up that demo man, and now, as you say, they have this opportunity to forward hold back up on the Pyro. We'll see how it goes this time.
Oh no, the Pyro's brought down very, very low. Ox committing in, gets the force out into Dowie, and they even get Shio out as well on this entire sort of game plan. Everybody else has got out quite safely on Varmkorv. If they just give them enough sort of rope, they should hang themselves. The Pyro going in, having to feed. Oh, what a pipe! What a pipe against Silves and Derpy Hooves in sheer shock, not even jumping forward. Soldier going now, still looking for Shio. Where is Shio?
Didn't even find where Zio is. Zio's actually left towards grass. Had no idea where that medic was, wasn't able to find his way onto that medic, and now once more Varmkorv looked very, very solid.
They have an overcharge. If they see any sort of heal beam shenanigans, they could go aggressive with this. They should see Dowie now kind of supporting his team, but they're just maybe playing a bit more of the clock, using the Uber charge as more of a safety net. Silves takes that safety net away and will go down for the cause. And they're committing in, they're staying in over on Trust the Process. Nice bomb coming out from Ox though, but the scouts are still healthy enough to commit some fighting, and when the dust is settling, it's will be a round for Varmkorv. They're just too scrappy and just not enough fight on the point.
Yeah, too much of an uphill task, sadly. They kited the Uber decently, but one player down, and Alex had taken a lot of damage before they were moving back in. Couldn't quite make it happen, but yeah, just overall gameplay, particularly absorbing that aggression, just have to step up a little bit on Trust the Process.
Another day, another dawn, another sniper on mid, hanging out at China, and they do throw in A-Ren to kind of deal with the sniper class, but changes targets, gets a sort of attack onto Derpy Hooves instead, and everybody's gone so aggressive to coordinate this attack, they've just not found anything with it, and now will all likely go down.
Yeah, it looks like Zio will sneak out of there, but again, a very conclusive mid-fight victory. You know, they wanted to go aggressive because of that sniper, but everyone is just ready for them. They're not having anyone going down the flank, not having any spacing behind, just jumping straight into a brick wall.
Forward hold for Just the Process. I'm seeing no Pyro, and oh, okay, Onga goes down to the sniper class of Geordie, who's kind of just poking through that centre door. They do get in over on the long sticky going for getting the kill onto Ox, and the suicide wave is trying to come out now, but it's well repelled and isolated. They do bring out Shio for a little bit to maybe get some buffs out, but just some more time wasted here. They get the respawners back, and they actually have bought some space in, so at least the forward hold has been alleviated, but time of wasting is a time of dying as Ox goes down to the sniper of Geordie, still committing and keeping some good, not only plan to get initial picks, but kind of bait the rest of Varmkorv to go and deep in for that sniper.
Yeah, Geordie hasn't been hitting too much, but that was one really nice headshot onto that soldier on Cliff that he found. He's having to worry about these sightlines. He's moving towards his boxes area. All these main sightlines are ones you have to worry about. Zero will know, be aware of them, but yeah, looking to get aggressive and make some space again as Trust the Process just fully back up, give the space up, give the cap up, but looking to play it slow with the sniper.
Yeah, they just don't want to, I guess, feed too much in, go get over eager for all that sniper, so instead just give up, get the ground for free, but the sniper will ring off headshots if you just give him enough time, and time he has found for the rest of Trust the Process. They're going to recommit onto the mid-fight now. I kind of wonder where the rest of Trust the Process is to help out those bloody scouts. Soldier coming in actually gets controlled by the rest of these hit scan weapons of Trust the Process, and it's looking pretty tidy. It's looking pretty good for Trust the Process.
Yeah, at the moment, Varmkorv, they don't look like they have a good solution to this sniper. They just kind of throw in their soldiers in and try to make some space off the back of it.
Do they not? I see another sniper. I like a sniper versus sniper when it comes to solutions, but there's a trap on China, and maybe they might see this coming. Easy snipe for the Hugie, as he will kind of change the pace of this game now. The Uber charge aggressively with Doey, and they're on top of Shio, but Shio is dodging maniacally, can't quite. Oh, he bats him, slays him down, pulls the sword out, and gets the medic down. 3 combat classes left, 1 scout, 2 scouts! Excuse me, I can't do math, as they add another one into the multiplicative. Where is Silvers during all this? He's coming late to the party.
He's got him behind for a medic that is only just respawning. He's cleaned up. Big commit there by Trust the Process. Doey going super deep. Paying with his death, but they do have a lot of time off the clock for it.
Jordy is still rocking that sniper, still believes in it, but now he's going to make an adjustment. And now I know there's an enemy sniper. I would have to play things a bit more conservatively. He should definitely know there's an enemy sniper now. There's a kill feed telling you and inviting you to kind of come out and play, Jordy, but he's just not finding anybody. Then they're keeping the sight lines very tidy. Hugie not quite getting the kill and the opportunity onto Jordy, and Jordy has to get a bit more heroic if he wants to go for these shots, it seems. Brought down very low, not quite dead. Finally goes down to the pipe of Yumpo. Yumpo is getting some hate after some of these nice damage put out for his team to kind of start playing off, and the sniper just seems to have inspired Vaughn to give them a deadly weapon now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a case they're so bad at playing against the sniper themselves have just brought Hugie out, and you know, he seems to be hitting a little bit more than Jordy is his counterpart, and crucially winning that SVS earlier as well. They thought about a forward hold, but didn't really get themselves in a position, just going to back up, play the long sightlines and force Trust the Process to walk into that Hugie sniper.
Early Uber charge, worried about that sniper, and they do get a cheeky kill onto Aren already, who switched off to Scout, need I remind you, just taking advantage of the fact that Scout's just so powerful in this map. They use the Uber charge aggressively. Shio, though, is not being paid attention to, and they kind of just like flip-flop back and forth, seesaw between their attention, that Shio actually ends up going down from the front, if that makes sense.
Yumpo's on 1 health, will live. There's not even a health pack for him on Cliff. He's going to have to back up all the way to his respawning medic Geo. Though he doesn't have too much ad here whatsoever, but the cap does go back in. There's only 18 seconds left for Varmkorv.
Yuki still playing sniper, still being a pain, but they are adjusting for their sort of sight lines accordingly over, and now they're just playing brave over on Trust the Process. Final couple of seconds, they need to get some more capture time, but they can, as long as they got some capture time, they can kind of keep things cool and slow. I was worried about her P for a second there, but it's okay, it's alright, all under control.
Yeah, they went really aggressive there, Trust the Process, obviously expecting a last-minute push, last-minute committed push onto the point, but very calm stuff from Varmkorv. They knew what they had to do, they absorbed the aggression, they walked on with just about enough cap time, and now 20 seconds with Zio having Uber as well.
Uber charge pops early. No drop is going to come out today, says Shio. Pops off on everyone. You get an Uber. You get an Uber. Everybody's getting a stink of an Uber. Derpy Who's caught in a weird place at the wrong time, and everyone's a bit fragmented. I think they're going to surrender kills on both of these squads. Keep in mind, trust the process. Just need to capture the point. So all the fighting has to go off around this point, and it does put them in a vicarious situation. Ox digging deep and gets not 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kill, and finally a 4th kill for Shio, and they get that second round. Heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah, tough stuff for Trust the Process. They had a large lead for a long period of time, but that counter sniper just coming in clutch, tactical masterclass, finding the solution, because their bombs sure weren't working, but there we go with Arantri swapping off to the scout himself. They're sticking with this huge sniper.
Okay, and Jordi really controlled, killed off, mercy killing by the sniper. And they do lose Derpy Hoover as well, as they just committed everybody and nobody to defend poor Derpy during all that. The soldiers reconnecting back with their medic now, trying to deal with the aggression coming out from Silvers will be dealt with. And during all this, I've only just noticed there's a Kritzkrieg out for Derry, but he was not eating anybody during all of that because everyone was so far forward from Trust the Process. They do have the shock value though, because I don't think they know. Should have it now. Crit comes out, first sticky, hits onto a scout, they pop off overcharge immediately over on Varmkorv, and they can't actually find too many kills. They're so far away. Oh, okay, I spoke too soon. They've actually got a couple of juggled play. The snipe kill onto Derpy Who's. This is definitely curtains for this attempt.
Oh, that was really nice. Just Ox bombing up onto Cliff, popping a soldier in the air for the sniper who's popping off right now. Another shot onto Jordi, and at the moment, Hugie is untouched.
Okay, Hugie, I'm on your pulse, sir. It's fine. I'm sorry. Okay, now he's changed position. He's not going to get a kill anymore. God damn it.
They're still on the crits, but they're again not building optimally, and they're not going to have any advantage to work with.
Okay, so Hugie still on that sniper class, hanging about at China, giving a lot of what must be sort of claustrophobic gameplay. They have used the Kritzkrieg now, a couple of laser beams, but you can see the Ubercharge being the hard counter for this play. The only hope that they have is they can make this frag turn so diverted and all over the place. Big bomb and damage coming out from Jordi. No follow-up though. Silvers finally coming in through the follow-up, gets the kill onto Ox, gets the kill onto Shio the medic as well, and now they can actually think about just keeping this chain of Kritzkriegs over and over again happening for the rest of Trust the Process. Sadly though, in that same breath of mine, Dowie goes down.
Yeah, both the soldiers committed for the medic. They got what they would have wanted, but that allows Hugie just to position himself up on the China area where he has large sightlines, no soldiers to pressure him at all. He just has free reign until the soldiers can go in. And
Kritzkrieg, you're not protected by the way. You can still be headshot no matter how glowing your weapon is. During all this, they just go for a beeline all through the same doorway, all try and get onto the point and just fight quickly. If you can kind of get the enemy team wiped before the sniper gets to contribute money shots, maybe you might have a chance, but they've lost a couple of players already, and to justify the success of this little push, but they still will just keep pushing on forward. They've got those respawners from not having the point a bit quicker, so attrition war might go their way, but it's not going so far.
Mission ends in 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's very smart changing the position from Hugie. He's just going to push himself up onto Cliff with stickies to protect him as well.
So Jordi almost going down, finally having to prioritize this sniper. Gets headshot, gets the kill off him. He's committing still, he comes back into the fight. He's an instant gratification sniper, gets the 2 back-to-back headshots, and the rest of his team puts in the work, but they're not going overextending, they're just playing to their strength, which is this sniper core.
Yeah, they're just putting all the marbles down on that sniper. A little bit of space for Jordi through this flank, and Crit just about
popped off. Where's the sticky going? Nowhere. I'm not finding any sort of kill so far. They're throwing out some lasers. Do they get the Ox? Find the sniper finally. but do they still have enough in the tank to run over the rest of this squad? They do lose Derpy Hooves, who is kind of overextended, and they're not keeping track of all these scouts, thus losing Dory now. Shio kept himself alive during all of that, so they have the heals, they have the patience, and they have an Uber charge coming over on Varmkorv, unless Earl has something to say about it. Not really strong words, though.
Damage scared down, coming down onto Zio, but wheeling his way to safety, keeping his heals up, keeping his Uber up. Just 15 seconds left. Once this cap comes in for Varmkorv, and they have an Uber ready to go as well.
They can't deal with the sniper. It seems like they pulled a deal with the devil by bringing Jordy onto the sniper class, and he's just giving the same deal to poor Varmkorv, who's just kind of dismantling them. They throw one last Hussar soldier in. It's 3 rounds. It's a clean sweep. It's not Bagel, but now it's product wipe.
It was yeah, really impressive stuff from Varmkorv. They you know, I'm a little bit disappointed that they had just how bad their play against the opposing sniper was, but as we said earlier, they found that solution. They swapped Hugely over, and not only was he showing off his capability in terms of hitting so many shots and just how much higher impact he was on the Geordie sniper, but also just his smart positioning, his maneuvering around the map. He had a really good understanding of when he had to play in certain positions, when he had to go back, absorb, have players playing around him, when he had freedom to just peek the aggressive sightlines, and it was kind of a masterclass.
And Highlander players say 6v6 is not enough like Highlander. That was the most Highlander thing I've ever seen. Just 2 teams playing off their snipers and just like crossing your fingers like, I hope our sniper's better than their sniper. But yeah, it works out for them. It's got to be disheartening for the boys on Trust the Process. They worked so hard and they had all the pieces there, but who knew that them? I assume this was their map pick of product would backstab them like this, Dave.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They obviously had an idea how they wanted to play. They wanted to play that kind of defensive wall around the Geordie sniper, but as soon as that crumbled, as soon as their one kind of main game plan failed, you could see they really didn't have the answers, and it was just a case of Varmkorv having much, much better adaptation to their opponents, and that's why they won tonight.
All right, you and I know what these logs are going to look like. We're going to see Hughie right at the top. He's got 14 kills with the old sniper rifle, and yeah, just the pittance amount on the scout class. Even though scout's just really that powerful. Credit as well to Erentry. I will never say that name right, but credit to him to switching off to the scout. His impact was felt. I felt a little bit having that scout presence. Just be able to pick off things a bit like that, switch the fights around. I liked it.
Yeah, and Impo having a good showing as well. Second top damaging, good KD overall as well. So yeah, just you could see those 2 players, Hughie and Impo, was top of the scoreboard in damage, and there was not too much contesting them.
Yeah, hurts the soul. Hurts the soul. I don't think there's too much to discern from these. It's the usual sort of palaver of Dory's going down a lot, but they are running crits all time at one point, so you know, excuses, copium, all that. Any other sort of footnotes here for the history books, Dave?
Not really.
All right, okay. Well, that was our ETF2L 6v6 Summer 2023 Div 1 Playoff Grand Finals. The victor will be Varmkorv Boogie. Congratulations to them. We will more than likely see them in Prem in some sort of capacity, and very well played. It was kind of a stumble going all the way to the playoffs, but they made it in the end, and it's about how you end, not how you start. And Trust the Process, showing a good showing, and who knows, maybe how the Prem turns out next season, if some teams flop and all this, we might see them as well. Never say never, and maybe we'll have a good match out of it. Any more words for our audience, Dave, before we sign out?
No, just thank you for the game. It was a fun game, and yeah, always fun casting with you, Tibbertabs.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. That's a correct shout out, Dave, if I've ever heard one. A big shout out to Antimation for doing all of our production tonight, and even whispering a couple of times about some actions going as well. It's almost like a third co-caster. All right. over onto Twitch. Thank you, Twitch, for being there and showing you Twitch chat. I'm not talking to you Twitch, the actual Twitch. I'm talking to you Twitch chat. You're the reason we do this. You're the reason why we like to make these games so much. So thank you for turning out here. Big shout out to all the Team Fortress TV staff as well. We're going to have more of ETF2L still to finish off here. There's still plenty of finals, so don't go away. Don't stray too far from teamfortress.tv. We'll see you real soon.